Franziska is a former winner of the Young Entrepreneur of the Year award. She's a leading marketing strategist with an eagle eye for good marketing and a sixth sense for positioning and branding. She is a true visionary. Basically, Christo and Franziska that'll be talking today, they have a business, a marketing business up on the Northern Beaches called Basic Bananas. Focuses on branding. I know that a few of the guys in the room have already done it. They're going to give as much value as they can today, and hopefully you can take away a stack. So if you wouldn't all mind standing up, and let's give Franziska a big breakthrough for business welcome, please.
Woo! Let's get some music. Louder, louder. We need some music, right? I hope you guys like Madonna. I don't really like Madonna, but this looks like a Madonna microphone. So I said, harder, harder, more. Should we start with a bit of dancing? I can't really dance that well. Where's Christo? Does he want to come? All right. Let me grab the clicker. So thank you so much for having us. I won't be up here all day long. Well, I don't have all day, but I'll come and hang out with you down here because I always feel like it's more fun with you. Thank you so much, Stephen, first of all, for organizing such an amazing conference. Should we give him one clap? One. We do the one claps just to keep you sharp and not to waste too much time. So let's try this once. Wollongong is not very rhythmical. Let's try one more time. Yeah, a bit better. It's really funny because I do this everywhere, and just make sure this doesn't touch my skin. And it's funny how different groups have different rhythms. So some groups are really, really good, and then some groups are not so amazing. You guys are a little bit at the bottom for now, but we might climb the ladder. So we'll see. We'll see how you go. So, where are the accountants in the room? Are they here? Yeah. So yesterday I came to the dinner. We came a little bit late because I was at TEDx in the city in Sydney, and then we arrived at dinner. I didn't really know many people there, maybe 3 people, and I left my phone on the table. And I was just talking to different people. Suddenly, this guy next to me takes my phone and takes a selfie. So that's the sort of people we get to hang out with today. I was really excited, actually. So I thought I'll show this. So that's actually, it says Andy. Who is this guy? Okay, and then this guy in the corner is the one that took the photo, the one eye guy in the corner. I'll quickly introduce myself and Christo a little bit more so you know who you've got here, and you can see that you can trust us, hopefully. But if somebody tells you to trust us, you don't trust usually. Is that right? I never trust anyone who says trust me. But I just said it, so we'll see. So you can tell, you can tell that obviously, people always say I have an accent. I think that's total bullshit, because I think you guys have an accent. But if you do think that I don't have an Australian kind of accent, it's because I grew up in a place like this. Can anyone guess what this sort of accent is? Yeah, it's Switzerland. Switzerland. Yeah, I grew up in Switzerland, and I always have to just get it out of the way, because if I don't, people will, the whole presentation, they'll just not focus on what I'm saying, and they'll guess the whole time, what is this, what is this, what is this? So it's a Swiss. I've been here for 10 years. I know, but I think I can't lose it. This is me celebrating my 3rd birthday, really in love with my carrot cake. And so I grew up in Switzerland, and just the whole Swiss thing. Do we have any other Swiss here? I always have to be careful. No. Swiss people have a very big reputation about being a bit anal, a bit stuck up, and very organized, and it's all true. It's all true. So I grew up in a place like that. I love it. It's a gorgeous place. I go back every year, and my whole family is still there. Now, I grew up, very conventional. The education system in Switzerland is really good. So if you're doing well, you go to university and you climb the career ladder and all that. And I did that. I did my double degree in marketing and political science. So I did marketing for myself and political science for my dad, just to keep him happy. And then, I was just being a good girl, working really hard. And then I got a scholarship to come to Sydney. And I was studying in Geneva. That's why my accent is a little bit screwed, because I have French and Swiss. Is that a bad word, screwed? I've never used that before. Well, it depends. Well, yeah, you are a naughty girl. You are a naughty girl. Yeah, okay. So I came here about 10 years ago to get. I did a scholarship from my Geneva University that sent me here to Sydney University, and I was lucky enough to get everything paid for by my university. And then I met this surfer guy suddenly, Christo, while I was living here. Do you want to come up a little bit? Oh, not yet. And yeah, let's give him one clap. And
Hello. Hello.
and so it was all over for my reputation back home and for my family when I said I'm dating this Australian surfer guy. It's super cliche too. Swiss girl living in Australia dating an Aussie surfer. It's total cliche. And I lived it. So I told them, and they weren't very happy about it. And of course until they met Christo, because they just thought I'm just going to end up being a surfer bum, which I guess I am a little bit, but I'm also an entrepreneur. So now I'm a Swazi. So I'm a Swiss Aussie. I became a Swazi, I think 2 or 3 years ago. They finally gave me the citizenship here. So I'm really grateful for it. So thanks for having me. And as Stephen said, 2 years ago I got the Young Under 35 Entrepreneur of the Year award, which is amazing. I'm really grateful. Thank you. So my background is obviously, so I grew up in Switzerland. I did my career thing, and I was being a good girl, and I worked in advertising back home, and then I moved here to be with Christo. So we kept dating after I went back home for another year, and I moved back to Sydney, and I got this really amazing job in advertising. So I was working in advertising, and I was doing strategy and really making sure that the money that our clients gave us, like Westpac, New South Wales Lotteries, Cancer Council was my favorite client. They gave us, a budget, and they would say, what do you do with it? So I was in charge of coming up with strategies to spend as much as we could with their money. So that my agency that I was working for obviously made enough profit. And also I was in charge of pitching for new business. And it was great, but the advertising industry is a little bit different too, and I had a bit of conflict with my values. But I didn't figure it out until later. And then 7.5 years ago, I was working in advertising, working really long hours, and climbing the career ladder. I had a good salary, and I was being the really good Swiss girl, doing the thing that I was supposed to do in terms of the career thing. And then 7.5 years ago, Sunday morning, I'm sitting at home. It was actually right after a surf near our house. And I'm just sitting at home eating breakfast on the floor. I remember the exact scene. And my phone rings, and it was a blocked number. And that's usually when a foreigner calls. So I pick it up, and he was my brother. I have one brother. And he calls, and he said that our dad had just passed away. And he was he had a heart attack. My dad was 58. And I saw him maybe 4 months previous to that event. We went to Cuba. I took them to Cuba together, my mom and my dad with Christo. And he just passed away. He just had a heart attack. Within an hour, he was dead. And my brother had to tell me that. And so it was one of those moments in my life when, everyone has these moments, big and small, but you look at your life and you're like, what the fuck? And I'm not allowed to swear, I know, but I love swearing. I just love swearing. But Krista always gets really grumpy.
So
but
language barrier thing.
Yeah, it sounds really bad. It sounds much nicer in Swiss when I swear in Swiss, but I just love swearing. And so I was looking at my life, I'm like, Gott verdammt, that's a Swiss swear word. Gott verdammt. And then I'm like, I had this big question in my head, and I asked myself, if I died right now, would I be happy with what I'm doing? Would I be saying, okay, cool, I've done everything I could? And the answer was so clear, and it was no. And I always tell entrepreneurs, ask yourself that question. If you were to leave right now, would you be happy? Are you doing everything you want to and everything you can? And for me, it was clear, no, I'm not. I can have a much bigger impact with my knowledge and my skills, and I'm not really doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So I quit my career in advertising, and this is the funny thing, I didn't tell any of my Swiss people, because you don't do that. You don't just quit. And I certainly didn't tell my mom for at least 10 months. They all thought I'm still this good Swiss girl working in advertising. And of course, I didn't update on Facebook every day, I'm now unemployed. I just didn't say anything. And so I knew I can do better with what I've got. So I took my skills, I teamed up with Christo, and we started Basic Bananas about 7 years ago. And I haven't looked back because I realized that if I work with the decision makers, small businesses, entrepreneurs like you, we can get to where we want to go much faster. In corporate, you have to go through a lot of levels to get to somewhere, but you guys are the decision makers. And one of my favorite things to talk about, which we'll do today, is branding and creating perceptions. And we'll do that today. So Krista has a bit of a different journey. This always happens.
They always like sneak slides in. This is a new one.
I found it on my phone and I put it
photos,
in.
and there's always someone. It's usually when I'm like, the other slide previous was when I was 16, actually. I just wanted to say a quick hello. I won't fill you in on my whole thing now. I'll let you keep on rocking and rolling, and because I'm going to present after Franziska, we'll do it that way so you guys can focus and she can get into it.
Yeah,
I just wanted to say a quick hello. That's all. So hi. Hi.
Do you want to? Are you going to tell them a little bit about you later, or should I just tell a little bit about what your journey is?
You can go for it if you like, or do you want me to quickly do that?
I don't mind.
Sounds like
yeah,
it,
just
doesn't it?
talk about it.
All right. My background's a bit different. I grew up on the northern beaches of Sydney, and just kind of so you know who you're with, I guess. Northern beaches of Sydney, like most young boys and girls on the beach there, had the hopes and dreams to become a professional surfer, surf the world, and I saw those guys with their kind of big houses, fancy cars, beautiful wives, and all that stuff. I think I did all right, didn't I?
He always has to say that. So cheesy. So cheesy. Get off.
Whatever it was, stroke of fate or whatever, I got to do it. Whatever choosing the right passion, like the right hobby, and just having a bit of natural ability or whatever it was, I got to go away and surf the world for 7 years. I did full time internationally, which was really cool. I felt very privileged. My major sponsor at the time was Billabong Australia and a bunch of other surf labels and brands, everyone that manufactures anything from like hats, shoes, surfboards, and so on. So I was kind of like a marketing tool for them. I'm still a little bit of a tool, but different kind of tool now. And then my background, both my family, everyone in my family is all small business owners, so I was always going to do my own thing. So the first business I bought was called Softboards Australia. If anyone's been to a surf school and had a lesson on a soft surfboard, there's a good chance you've probably ridden one of our boards. So I built that up over about 7 years and kind of got crazy about marketing during those times, and that's where I got into it. Built that up over about 7 years and then sold the business. It's still running now, selling to surf schools. If you're wondering what that is, it's like the soft surfboards. They're pink, yellow, blue, kind of feel like a yoga mat. Yeah, and another surf label called Famous Wax. It's big in California. I brought that over to Australia and built it to about got to about 100 stores, and then sold the rights to distribute that in Australia as well, and a couple of other surf things in the background. But yeah, that's kind of when I got crazy about marketing back in those days, and that'll probably do for me for right now, all right?
Yeah.
Round of applause for Christo.
No, you haven't done anything yet. Get off. So it's really funny. I always laugh because he went from being a professional surfer and doing all this crazy stuff around the world and then running his own businesses. He thinks it's so cool to say, I've never had a job. That's not even that cool to say, but he thinks it's hilarious to say that. So he never had a job. He went from being a surfer to running his own businesses and obviously had the ups and downs and made a lot of mistakes and learned from them. And then now we're very privileged to be able to present it at a lot of different events. And the one that I'm probably the most maybe even nervous about is we're talking at TEDx, actually 2 TEDx events this year. In the 1 year, it's always been a dream of mine, and I'm super nervous because it's 20 minutes and you have to really prepare for it. And you can't just wing it. And one thing and I'm good at winging it, and one thing that we want to talk about, that I want to talk today about, is really the whole concept about perceptionisms and how, and it's a made up word. I made it up and I thought I was so clever. I Googled it and somebody had already used it. So somebody already used it before me. Now, the one thing when you really manage to create a certain brand and a certain perception in the market, you attract opportunities. And not just in terms of more clients and more money, but also media opportunities. This is one thing that we are fortunate enough to, is because Basic Bananas, we do things a little bit differently, and I can share you a little bit more how we came to that, because I'll give you the exact same questions that we used at 7 years ago. And because of it, we managed to attract a lot of opportunity. Now, there's a lot of noise in the market, and obviously everyone has competitors. Does anyone not have competitors here? That's great, because sometimes there's someone that says, I don't have any competitors, and I worry a little bit about them. Because if you don't have any competitors, you have to prove your concept, you have to prove your business, and that's much harder than having competitors and doing a better job than them. So there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of, a lot of choice for us consumers. So we have to really stand out, and we have to create a certain perception. Now, what do most businesses do? And here's a little hint here on the slide. What do most businesses do, especially in the beginning? Yeah, but exactly. But even throughout their journey, they just copy because they don't know what am I going to do, what am I going to write, what am I going to say, how am I going to market my thing. So a lot of them, they copy. I think this is a cute slide. Usually I get a little more of a cutesy kind of noise. What's a cute noise? Oh, yeah. Can I get that? Great. So what is marketing? What's marketing? Usually I have chocolates here, but Stephen already spoils you with all this unhealthy stuff. Do we have apples or something? I'm kidding. So I don't give you chocolates, but I'll give you a clap. So what's marketing? Anyone can say anything. Just throw it out. Who wants to say something? You naughty girl? You? What's marketing? Just throw anything out. Selling. Yeah, selling yourself. What else? Branding. What's marketing? Relationships. Love it. Yeah, what else? Promoting. Yeah, what else? Strategy. Yeah, you need to have strategy. If you don't have strategy, you're scattered, and that's not really a good approach. What else? Second? Energy. Yeah, I've never heard that before, but that's good. Yeah, marketing is energy, positive energy. Second, momentum. Yeah, creating momentum in the market. Good. What else? Awareness, creating awareness. Yeah, what else? Did you say something? Impression. Yeah, creating an impression. Yeah, people are getting scared because she's coming closer. Over here, one person. Naughty accountant. Positioning. Yeah, it's all about marketing. Is all about positioning. What else? We've already had that. Come on, you can do better. I'm so mean. Yeah, acquiring customers. Yeah, attracting customers. Getting attention? Yeah, exactly. Now, here's the thing. I'll give you all one clap. You could have said anything, and it would have been the right answer. So let's give one clap. Why would have been the right answer? Because everything you do is marketing. Everything. Walking into this room, talking to people, taking my phone and taking selfies. It's all marketing. Everything you do is marketing. And it's because you are really carrying your brand. And sometimes I get entrepreneurs, they say, well, I'm just going to be a little bit grumpy today, and I'm going to go to the corner shop and just not be very nice, and then I'm going to come back and do marketing. But everything you do is marketing. And it goes through everything you do in your business, from email signature to how you pick up the phone to how you do anything, really. Now, what sells, though? So the textbook definition of marketing is all the different strategies. I call them doors. So I call these doors. All the different doors that you open. This is your business here. It can be online, or it can be a bricks and mortar business. So this is your business. All the different doors that you open to get people to come, that's marketing in a textbook definition. So all the different strategies, we had strategy here before, all the different strategies that you use to get people to come, that's marketing. Now, what sells? What sells? So marketing is getting them to come here. What sells? Image. What else? What sells? The product. But what about the product? What's selling? Results. Yeah, what sort of results? Getting them to give you money. So sales. So marketing is, they come here. It doesn't mean that they buy. If people come to your business, it could be your website, or could be your business, or could be calling you, it doesn't mean that they actually buy. So marketing is getting them to come. I really want you to understand the difference, because this is so important. So marketing is getting them to come, and then sales is getting them to give you their money. Does that make sense? Yeah. Now, probably 70% of businesses that I see every single day, they have a bit of a problem. They do have some of these doors open, so they use some of these strategies, but people are not buying. So people are coming here, but they're not spending their money. Why is that? Why are they not buying? Say again? Experience, yeah. Maybe the customer experience. What else? They're not ready. Trust, exactly. There's no reason to buy. There's no value, exactly. What else? Exactly, because you're attracting the wrong market. And it's all about one word, and that's what I love talking about more than anything, positioning. So it's all about positioning. You know, positioning is a really fancy word in marketing. All it means is really taking a space in the market that makes you attractive to the right person. So most businesses have a positioning problem. They go out there, they spend all this money on marketing, and here at this conference you learn so many amazing strategies, and you've already learned some strategies yesterday, marketing strategies even, and sales strategies, but unless your positioning is solid, you're wasting time. You can get better results if your positioning is awesome. And that's why Stephen said, let's do this session first thing in the morning, because then everything else you do today and your implementation in the afternoon will build onto that. So everything in terms of marketing has to be the first thing you have to do, and it doesn't matter how old your business is. Some of you have have been in business for a long time, some of you are newer. Your positioning is the most important thing. And your positioning also needs to adapt to the market, because the market changes all the time. There's ups and downs, and there's things that change. Your customer change, you change, so your positioning needs to adapt. It's not that you determine your positioning once and then you let it go. You have to keep working on it. So that's the one thing I want to talk about. So marketing is all about positioning. And positioning is all about creating a perception. It's not really actually real, it's creating a perception. And I'll show you a couple of examples. This one here. Why do we think that when we get engaged, we need a diamond? Yeah, and why? Yeah, that's a perception. It's a perception. Yeah, exactly. A diamond is forever. Who said that? Yeah, he said it, but he said it. Yes, let's give him one clap. He said it. A diamond is forever. Who came up with that? No, but she was used as a tool. She was used as a tool. Yes, who was it? De Beers. De Beers, yeah. So De Beers, they were the biggest mining conglomerate in Africa in terms of getting diamonds out of the soil in the mines. They were the biggest ones. Now, they actually formed a conglomerate so that they had what's it called? A monopole? Monopoly? A monopoly? Sometimes I pronounce things a bit weird. Monopoly. A monopoly on diamonds, so that they had control of the market. So they created that monopoly, and what they decided to do is, well, we have to change perception of a diamond, because nobody's buying them. Not enough people are buying diamonds. So they decided we need to change perceptionism. Here's the thing about marketing. You have the power to influence your perception. And if you don't take control of it, you're missing out like crazy. So De Beers came along and they decided, okay, we need to do something about this. We need people to want a diamond. So what they did is they came up with a campaign that this lovely gentleman, what's your name? Mark, Arch. You look like Arch. Arch Barker. Mark. So Mark said, a diamond is forever. So De Beers worked with an advertising company, and they came up with this campaign, which made the saying, a tagline, which was, a diamond is forever. Because they said love is forever. Which, whatever, it's all perception. It's all perception. So suddenly we decided, what they then did, Marilyn Monroe, for example, they took her and, what's the other gorgeous? Liz Taylor and a couple of these gorgeous ladies. There's one more. Audrey Hepburn. Yeah, Audrey Hepburn. They would have taken me, but I wasn't there. Audrey Hepburn, exactly. She was a big one. So they would actually go to Hollywood. So they went to Hollywood. They went to Hollywood producers, and they said, "Hey, how about you give a diamond to your wife, because it means that you love her." So suddenly, the producers gave their wives diamonds and said, "Hey, this means that I love you." So that we could put a tangible value on love, which is completely ridiculous. But that's what human beings do. So then the producer said, hey, this is great. Let's put the same scene into the movies. So now every time that a guy wanted to impress a girl, he gave a diamond. You see a scene, the girl falls into the guy's arms. And of course, the guy suddenly used this as a tool. And it worked perfectly. So suddenly we have the perception that we need a diamond when we get engaged, because it symbolizes love. And it's not real. It's a thing that was constructed in our mind. And that's what you want to do with your business. So this is a really great quote that I like. There's no truth, there's only perception. There's only perception. Everything that we see here, everything that we feel, it's all about perception. And marketing is all about perception. And maybe write this down. This is my favorite thing that I always try and say in every presentation. The best marketing doesn't look like marketing. The best marketing doesn't look like marketing. Because most people, they produce marketing with a marketing hat on. They're like, no, let's write marketing copy, and it's so sleazy, cheesy, and annoying. And I'm really on a mission to stop making people do shitty marketing, because I'm a consumer and I have to read it. So the best marketing is the marketing that doesn't look like marketing. Here's another example. The Beetle. What did they do? I think in the 50s, maybe 1950 something, they came out with the Beetle. What was the market like in America in terms of cars? Big, yeah, only big cars. Only big cars. So what did Volkswagen do? Yeah, they came in small, the opposite. They said, well, the market is already pretty crowded. How are we going to take a space in a person's mind? We just go small. And it's really brave to do that. But it obviously worked. It's my favorite car in the world. That's why I have to use it too. So they came out with the Beetle. And who is the Beetle for? Who would drive a Beetle back then? Yeah, what sort of people? Maybe students maybe don't have money, but singles, yeah, women, exactly. So single people, women mainly. So they went after a very specific market. Yesterday I spoke to this gorgeous woman with the travel agency. I already forgot the name again. Cindy, yeah. Cindy and Daniel, yeah. I spoke to Cindy yesterday because she's come to some of our workshops at Basic Bananas, and she said, you know what we did is we focused our travel, because the travel market is very competitive. Every market is quite competitive. They said we focused our travel market to be a little bit more niche. So the first thing they did was the wineries, wasn't it? So, second? Oh, painting in the vineyards. Yeah, so painting in the vineyards, and now also the next thing they're going to do a bit more is into wellness and food, like healthy travels. Is that correct? Yeah, and so rather than going for a normal travel agency, they started to go a little bit, to carve out a bit of a niche in someone's mind, because you can grow much faster if you do that. It's very scary, but you have to do it. Apple, of course, here's the biggest, most famous quote ever. Here's to the crazy ones, the misfit, the rebels, the troublemakers. You know this. Has been very famous. Now, Steve Jobs, first of all, is one of the most prolific, most famous, one of the best marketers. He was one of the best marketers that I've ever seen. And from the very beginning, when they entered with Apple, him and Steve Wozniak, they started Apple. They didn't say, hey, let's just compete against all the other, well, there wasn't that many in the market, but they didn't say, let's compete. From the beginning, they said, no, we're only for the creatives. We're only for the misfits. So they carved out that niche from the beginning. Again, this is very brave. Because if I told you and I said to you, hey, in your business, just go for the crazy ones, you would go, no, I can't do that. But you can, because, I mean, how many people here use Apple? Are you all crazy? No, I don't know. Well, I don't know you all, but maybe Wollongong is all crazy, but I don't think you're all crazy. But you still want an Apple. I only use Apple products, and I'm not that crazy. But it's because they carved out that identity. And even if you're not even if you're not a misfit and you're not crazy, you still want to use the product, a certain market. And some people hate Apple. Who hates Apple? Yeah. Some people hate Apple. That's great. And you want that. You don't want everyone to love you. It's good when some people don't like you or your product. We don't take it personally. So I want to give you six really keys. You've got in the handout, I think you've got some notes that you can follow along. So I want to give you 6 things that I want you to think about straight away in your business to create that good positioning in the market so you can attract more people. Without this stuff, any of your marketing, really, well, with this, you get a better return from your marketing. So the first one is your why. And here's my favorite quote to explain this. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Now, I'll give you a quick example here so that you can see what this means. Simon Sinek is a really great guy. He talks about leadership mainly. So this quote applies to leadership, but I've taken it and applied it to marketing. And I'll give you an example. So a few months ago, I think it was October, I was over in LA running a session for Basic Bananas. And I was just at the registration desk at the beginning there and just saying hi to people. Then this girl comes And she says, hi, I'm Sarah Martin. I still remember her name. I'm Sarah Martin. I said, hi, Sarah. What do you do? And she was a wellness practitioner. So she said, I'm a kinesiologist, microtherapist, so all these weird words. EFT, I think, is another one. Some words that I didn't really understand. Or that really, unless you're in the wellness industry, you don't really know what it is. So she said, yeah, do all this, blah, 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 blah. I said, great. So she sat down, we ran the session, we did this one exercise where we told people don't really buy the what, they buy the why. Who wakes up in the morning thinking, I really need microtherapy? Does anyone wake up thinking, I need microtherapy? Who thinks that in the morning? No one? You're not that crazy. So nobody wakes up thinking that. After the session, after the session, Sean, who works with us in LA, he came up and he said, hey, Franziska, I'm going to work with Sarah. I'm going to have to go work with her. And I was just giggling a bit. I thought, because she was really cute. So I thought, oh, he's just a bit of a bastard. He wants to just go hang out. So I said, why? I said, Sean, why? And I knew the answer a little bit, but it wasn't actually true. He said, because Sarah helps people decode their body, look at your body, decode it to find out what's wrong, so you can have more energy, more motivation, and less stress. I think those were the words that he used. So suddenly, she didn't go to him and she didn't say, hey, Sean, I do microtherapy. How about you do some microtherapy? He wouldn't have been interested, I don't think, even though she was pretty. She went, and when he asked her, he said, hey, I help people decode their body to find out what's wrong. And then we can figure things out so you can have more energy, more motivation, and less stress. So she went from giving him the what to giving him the why of what she does. Does that make sense? I'll give you two companies. This photo is for the ladies in the room. A Russian guy on a Harley Davidson. He's not that hot, but I couldn't find anything better. So Harley Davidson, what do they sell? Yeah, what sort of image? Midlife crisis? Yeah, who has a Harley here? Now they don't want to put their hands, I should have asked before. What do they sell? What image? Rebel, yeah. What else? Freedom. Bad boys, yeah. What else? Yeah, well, we don't say that. You said it. So what they say is do they have really good bikes? I don't know if anyone's into bikes. Apparently not. I'm not very much into bikes, but I've heard from bikey people that they don't have amazing bikes. But they're one of the biggest bike companies in the world, especially in America. Here a little bit less, but in America they're one of the biggest bike companies. They're everywhere. People have Harley Davidsons everywhere, and they're not the best bike. They have a lot of competition too. A lot of bike companies have entered the market and have gone again. But it doesn't matter because they don't sell the bikes, and never have. They don't sell the bikes. They sell, we fulfill dreams of personal freedom. That's what they sell. So that's a really good example. Now there's another example. Let's see if the sound works. I'm not sure right now, but they were the second biggest company in the world, not in their industry, in terms of market capitalization. Second biggest company in the world. And they are the one company that really don't ever sell the what, ever. We've already spoken about them. Who is it? Apple. Never ever, you can look at any of their ads, they always sell the why. What are they selling? Lifestyle, yeah, what else? Yeah, connectedness, yeah, connections, what else? The dream, yeah, what else? In this one specifically. Travel, yeah. Poetry, romanticism. They don't ever mention the iPad Air. Not once, did you see? They don't mention it. Do you know who does the voiceover? Did he recognize the voice? Yeah, it's one of his probably last projects, Robin Williams. It's a Dead Poet Society, is that what the movie's called? Dead Poet Society lyrics, or what's the word? Script, or whatever, however you call it. So they are one of the best examples that they don't ever sell the what, they only ever sell the why, and that's why they're the biggest company almost in the world. It's impressive. And so I want you to think the same thing. I want you to think about, and maybe in your handout, I'll give you maybe time, even in the break or in the afternoon when you do your implementation, hopefully you can work on that. Just think about for yourself. For example, for an accountant, let's do one quick example in the room. And everyone can help here. What does an accountant sell? What does an accountant sell? Peace of mind. You're really clever, Arch. Yeah. What's your business? What's your business? Say again? Education. Awesome. That's why he's so smart. He's a teacher. So yeah, Arch, exactly. It's peace of mind. What else? Saving you time. Yes. What else? You should write this down. Security. Yeah, it's giving you safety, giving you confidence. Exactly. So that's what everyone in the room needs to think about. Maybe in the afternoon when you have time to implement, think about what are people really buying from me. Maybe write that question. What are people really buying from me? They're not usually buying the most obvious thing. They're buying the outcome. But what is the outcome? And make it a little bit emotional if you can. If you can attach an emotion to it, it will be even more powerful. So peace of mind is a big one for accountants. Now, talking about your brand, what's the purpose of a brand? What's the purpose of creating a brand? Well, what is a brand, first and foremost? What is a brand? Your identity, exactly. It's got two aspects. A brand has two aspects. It's got the visual aspect, which is all the things that you can see. It's your logo, the colors, the fonts, the images that you use. And then you've also got the emotional side of things, the psychological aspect, which is making people feel like they belong to something. So what's the purpose of a brand? It's to create familiarity. So your brand is here to create familiarity. What happens if you have familiarity? What happens if you have familiarity in the market? Yes, you generate conversation and you create trust. You create trust. Branding and this whole branding game is all about creating trust. Because if your marketing doesn't instill trust, what happens? What happens if you don't have trust in the market? Yeah, we go somewhere else. We have so many options. In the past, this wasn't that important. And in the past, this is even very interesting. In the past, even when I was in advertising, it was really the people that had the most money that could grow the biggest and the fastest. But now we have a much more even market for small businesses to go bigger, because it's not anymore who has the biggest money, but it's the ones that have the best marketing and the most exciting marketing because of social media, because of the shareability of what we do. And so it's actually really exciting for us, but it's also scary for the shitty businesses, which is cool for consumers. So all the businesses that are not doing a very good job, in the past they could hide because nobody really could talk about it, but now it's very transparent. So the purpose of your branding and everything you do is to create trust, and of course if you have trust, you have money. Or people give you money if they trust you. Now, I want to give you, actually I'll tell you a quick story about why this is so important. So, about 2 years ago or 3 years ago, my mom, who lives in Switzerland, she came to visit. She came out to visit Australia. It was her second time in 10 years. And she loves cleaning. She loves cleaning. It's very interesting. Definitely more like my dad. Because everything, I have this philosophy in my life, and maybe you can take a little bit from it, because it's helped me a lot. Anything that I'm not good at or that I don't like doing, I outsource. Now cleaning, I'm really not good at it, and I don't like doing it, so somebody takes care of it. And she does an amazing job, so our house is not dirty. But my mom comes along. Swiss people, I told you, are a little bit anal. She sees a little bit of dust in the corner, and I think the oven was a bit dirty or something. She's like, I'm going to clean your house. Cool. I show her the cleaning cupboard in the hallway. Mom, have a look. There's everything twice, all the different cleaning things in there. Have a look, and I'll see you in a few hours. So I'll show her the cleaning cupboard, and off she goes, and I go do my thing. She comes back, and she says, but Franziska, that's how you say my name, it's horrible. But Franziska, I said, yeah, what's up? Well, I didn't say what's up, we don't say that in Swiss. We say, was ist los? And then she said, was ist los? She says, I need Ajax. You guys call it Ajax, I think. Ajax, yeah, we call it Ajax. So she needs Ajax. I said, Mom, this stuff is the same thing. It's got a different label, made in the same factory, same chemicals. Some are made in China. It's all the same thing. No, I need Ajax. So what's the first rule of marketing? Don't argue with your mother. So don't argue, hop in the car. I think I argued a little bit probably, but I hop in the car, go to Woolworths, and we find it. We find it. We buy it, we go home, and she's happy. So why does she need Ajax? Why does she need? Exactly. It's never failed her. She goes to the other side of the world It's really the other side of the world, and she still needs Ajax. She wouldn't do anything without Ajax. And that's what you want your brand to have. You want to have that power. You want people to come to you and have so much trust in you and so much loyalty that they can't ever go anywhere else. And you can do that. It's about creating perceptions. Every single person in this room can do it. And I'll give you a few questions now to work on it. So the first one, and you've got it in your workbook, the first question I'd like to answer, you to answer is, how do you want to be perceived? So what is that perception you want to create? What is that perception you want to create in the market? Now, I'll give you a little bit of music, maybe half a song, and I'd like you to write everything down that comes to mind looking at your brand. And you might want to change your perception. You might have a perception and go, you know what, I'm a bit bored with this. I want it to be something differently. So think, when you do that in a minute, when you describe your brand, take your brand as if it was a person. So if this was a person, how would I describe her or him? And use adjectives. Adjectives are descriptive words. So use adjectives like fun, boring, professional, fresh, young, old, adventurous, bold, any of those descriptive words that you would use to describe someone. So what's the character of your brand? I'll give you a little bit of music, and I'll get you to write everything that comes to mind. Otherwise, I'm going to sing, but I don't think you want that. I can't sing. All right, who wants to share? Let's hear some. Yes, here and then here. Yes, what's your name? Zara.
Credible, good quality, adaptable, diverse, sleek, informed, industry approved, innovative, and unbiased.
Great. Awesome. Let's give her one clap. Now, there's one thing that most people write, and that's two things, actually. It's quality and... What is the other one? No, there's always two that everyone uses. It just slipped my mind. But there's always quality. I can't remember the other one. But there's always quality in one other one. And maybe, no, it's not that one. I'll come back. But there's always quality, definitely. But everyone says that. Everyone says that. And everyone always says we're better. But that's not, because everyone already says it, it's not really the best thing to create. We need to create something different to that. But really well done. Yeah, what's your name? David, yes. You don't look like a David either. You know, Stephen doesn't look like a Stephen. Chris and I spoke this morning about it. We're like, Stephen doesn't even look like a Stephen. But that's just perception, you know, it's a wrong perception. Wrong perception, yes.
David is not my original name.
What's your original name?
Jung.
Jung, that's way better. Okay, Jung, what have you got?
We like to be perceived as fun.
What's your business?
We're mortgage brokers.
Mortgage brokers, yeah.
So fun, unique and different.
Yeah.
We like to break or beat the rules.
Great, awesome. So pushing the limits, it's really good. So pushing the limits, challenging the norm, having more fun. That's really good for a mortgage broker because nobody does it. Now the next step for him is actually to translate that into his marketing. That's going to be much harder because that industry is so boring. It's actually not that hard, but you just have to step up. That's really what you have to do. You have to step up. Let's give him one clap. Does someone else want to share? Did you want to share? Yeah. Do you work together? Yes. What's your business? Hair and beauty. Yeah.
So I'm going off the studio. We also have a wedding side where we mobile.
Yeah.
So Peter wrote down about the mobile and I went on with that. So.
Great.
So I said a trusting service. So that's
Yeah. Great. Yeah.
trusting, fun, professional quality,
Yeah.
and personal experience.
Personalized. Yeah. Personal experience. Excellent. Yeah. That's great. Now she just needs to translate that into the business. What can you do? What are all the little things you can do to make it more personal? And it's little things, even like, and I'll show you in a minute, sending little postcards, personalized postcards to your clients. And I'll show you that actually in a minute. Let's give her one clap. Yeah. Now, what's the perception you think, when we first started Basic Bananas, obviously, you know, coming from advertising and working with in branding a lot, I didn't just start Basic Bananas, it wasn't just a gimmick. It was very constructed. I knew exactly why we chose that name and how we translated it. But when you look at us and when you look at our brand, what sort of words would come up for you? What are some words that come up? How would you describe it? Clever? Yeah. What else? Monkeys. We didn't think about monkeys. Unique. Yeah. What else? Innovative. What else? Fun, simple, yeah, catchy, edgy, and quite cheeky. So what happens, because everyone in our team knows our perception that we want to create. And that's something you have to do too with all of your team. They all have to know the perception you want to create. So what we did is, of course, everyone knows. So actually, this is a photo from 2 days ago. We had a media interview for one of the papers because we're presenting at Vivid in Sydney. And so the guy came in and took a photo. Now, because our brand is a little bit cheeky and we do things a bit differently, a little bit like Jung, we pushed the limit a little bit. And so he walked in and I put on these ridiculous glasses that I found that have nothing to do with anything. And Krista was holding a banana and I said, how about this? And I was really joking. I said, how about a shoot with these stupid glasses on? And the photographer was so into it, he's like, perfect. And it had nothing to do with the story. So like halfway through the shoot, I'm like, should I take these off maybe for some normal photos? He's like, no. So he didn't take one photo without stupid glasses on. So the article hasn't come out yet. It'll be maybe in the next few days. And here's another example. You know, video marketing, you'll maybe hear at another seminar that Steve runs about it, or you already have. Video marketing is obviously a really good avenue. Now, you don't need fancy gear to make video marketing work, depending on your brand. Because our brand is quite innovative, cheeky, fun, funny, we don't need the fancy gear. And some of you don't either. So we just, whenever we go somewhere, this is in the Swiss mountains, this is a friend actually behind the iPhone, just holding it without even a tripod. So it goes a little bit like this, because it's also cold, so the guy's a little bit shivering like this. But it's okay. It's because it's part of our brand. But if our brand was stiff, professional, suit kind of brand, you know, wearing suits and things, this wouldn't work for us because it would take away from that. But it doesn't because it's part of the brand. So you need to think about that. The next question, actually, I'm going to do a quiz for you. What do you want to be known for? And I'll get you to think about that in the afternoon too, but I'll do a quiz. I'll flash up a word or a business and you tell me what they're known for. Safety. Safety. Now, this is about perceptionism. I mean, how many car brands do we have? Hundreds. They have come and gone. Do you think Volvo is more safe than other brands? No, not anymore. And there are probably some brands, of course, are less safe, but there are brands that are just as safe as Volvo, but they are the one known for safety. Why? Because they've decided to be seen as that. Exactly, with an agency. With an agency. An advertising agency. Apple, what's Apple known for? Exactly, innovation and creativity and lifestyle. Harley Davidson we spoke about. Freedom, yeah, lifestyle. Virgin Airline? Fun, yeah. Dynamic, on time, mostly, yeah. Exactly. What about Qantas? Safety again. Yeah, reliability, and they've got the safety thing. I don't know if they still carry that, whatever it's called, that carry that title. But they definitely have the safety thing. Jetstar? Cheap and shitty, exactly. That's their positioning. And we don't have to cry about it when we take a Jetstar and they're late, because that's their positioning. We can take a Qantas if we want to cry about being late. But if we go on Jetstar, and I take them all, I usually take Virgin, Qantas, but sometimes I'm on a Jetstar. If they're late, I'm not going to cry about it because I know their positioning. They're always shitty and late. It's part of their brand. Switzerland. What's Switzerland known for? Chocolate, cheese, watches, money, Swiss Army knife. Exactly. Yeah, and lots of stuff comes out of it, technology, because the government invests in it. What about Denmark? Snow? What else? Yes, that's the only one that you have. What's her name? Mary? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Mary. So here's, this is a trick question. I put Denmark in there because Switzerland has a position in the market amongst countries. Denmark doesn't. Denmark doesn't. But Denmark is stunning. Denmark is just as stunning as Switzerland. They're both really beautiful countries, but Switzerland has managed to get a lot of tourism because of their positioning, because they have decided to take a position in the market. Denmark hasn't really, but they could. They could. They need really good campaigns. They need to spend a lot of money to do that, but they could. So the next question is, what do you want to stand for and against? This is a really probably hard question for some, especially what do you stand against? But you have to take a position. Otherwise, you go under in a sea of other businesses. So you have to take a position. So what do you stand for and what do you stand against? Again, I'll get you to think about it in the afternoon. But here's just an example. This is something we have on our website. You can go maybe have a look later because it's a bit small, but we really, and we adapt this as we go, but we sit down with the team and we think about, hey, what do we really stand for? What do we really stand for? One thing that I wanted to put there, but I think Aussies are a bit more diplomatic. I said, let's put on there, we don't like to work with wankers. And then my whole team is like, you can't say that. So we didn't say it. We didn't. You still have to be a little bit diplomatic. But it does say something. I think we don't want to work with people that don't mean what they do. Who knows this car? No. Tesla. Yeah, it's a bit new in Australia. It's coming. It's Chris's favorite car. The Tesla. So the Tesla is, I don't know if you know much about it, but it's an electric car, 100% electric car. It's an American car. Elon Musk is the guy who started it. And what's different about it, though? You can see it in the ad. Well, it's a 100%. It's not the first 100% electric car, is it? No, definitely not. But yeah, it's bigger and it's sexier. Exactly. It's the first sexy, sporty 100% electric car. And that's their positioning. Because unfortunately, all of the electric cars are a little bit daggy. So suddenly, Christoph goes from not wanting an electric car to wanting an electric car because it's sexy. And that's the position that they have taken. And it even says, redefines green. At the top, it's in red. It says, redefines green. Now, somebody in a session said, haha, they made a mistake. It's in red. It's on purpose. They're not, they're not that stupid to make a mistake like that. It's in red because green symbolizes what? Electric cars. It's green, like, knitted underwear kind of stuff. So I always say that because I used to wear knitted underwear in Switzerland, but that doesn't mean anything about marketing. Don't change your perception about me. My mom made me. So they don't go green because it's sexy. Red is sexy. And that's the position that they take. And that's actually a quote that was really cool that he said, brand is just a perception. And perception will match reality over time. So brand is simply a collective impression some have about a product. So think about that in the afternoon too. Now, what makes you unique? This is the next question. Also, you have it in your handout. You need to think about what makes you unique. What's this guy? A wombat. What makes him unique? He has something that makes him extremely unique. Wow, yes. Why do you know this? I think, wow, let's give her one clap. She is a poop specialist. Is your business a poop specialist? What's your business? Oh, yeah. Awesome. Okay, great. So I think they are the only mammal in the world that does square poops. Makes them unique. Makes them very unique. So what makes you unique? Think about what makes you unique. What about Samsung? What makes them unique? Yeah, Samsung. It's not Apple, but what did they do? Yes. So what happened is they found the frustration in the market. So who here had a Nokia in the past? I had a Nokia. Yeah. Yeah, it went forever. Who now has a Nokia now? Leave your hand up if you still have one. No one, not one single person. So Nokia left the market because they didn't adapt. They did not adapt their perception in the market. They left. They had to go because they never adapted. Samsung did. Samsung looked at the frustration in the market. A frustration on the iPhone, apparently, which is totally ridiculous, was that the screen is too small because we've become so adjusted to bigger screens. So they created a bigger screen and more battery, more battery life, exactly. And maybe better camera, yeah. And now iPhone has come out with a bigger phone too. So think about your own market. What's the frustration? Let's give him one big clap. And the frustration for Stephen is that he's trying to put up banners and he shouldn't be doing that. Now, the next question I want you to think about in the afternoon is, why do you like buying from us? So ask yourself or ask your customer, why do you like buying from us? What makes us, why do you choose us over someone else? And you always get the best answers from your clients. You get the best research. We always do client research and they give us the best stuff. And the last question, and hopefully in the afternoon, if you do a little bit of group work at your table, one thing I'd like you to do in the afternoon if Steve allows you, is sit down at your table and ask the question when you go around, say, hey, what would make working with a mortgage broker more irresistible? Or what would make working with a beauty salon or hair salon irresistible? Or what would make working with a PR specialist irresistible? And just ask the question, then sip it, and then just let them go around and give you ideas. Some stuff will be really good, some stuff will be not so good, but it doesn't matter. Just write everything down and say 2 words. What do you say? Thank you. Just say thank you, nothing else. So hopefully you have time in the afternoon to do that. Here's one example. That's the one I wanted to show you. This is a guy called Danny. He's a mechanic. We call him Danny the mechanic. He is in one of our programs, one of our marketing programs. Now, Danny started off as a solopreneur when he came to us, younger kind of guy, probably mid-20s or something. He's really charismatic. He's really funny, but that didn't come out in his brand at all. He just looked like any sort of mechanic. So he started to really build on his perception. He really started to come up with a really unique brand as a mechanic. And one thing that he did, it's just a little tiny detail, he writes cards to every customer. We're one of his customers too, so I've gotten some of these. So whenever you get your car serviced, after you get a card, and he draws a little animal on the card with his greasy finger, so it's his greasy fingerprint, and then he draws an animal, and he just says, hey, thanks for working with us. Now here's the thing about this guy. This guy can hardly spell. He says he's dyslexic. He's dyslexic, but it doesn't hold him back from writing cards. And it doesn't even matter that they're full of mistakes. He does a spell check in Word, he told me. But they're still full of mistakes. It doesn't matter. So nobody here has an excuse to not do stuff like that. And this stuff goes on social media all the time. My whole team in the office, all the moms, especially the team's moms, especially, they love him because he sends them cards like that, and they think it's cute. Naming, quickly, really briefly about naming. I want you to you don't have to change your business name at all. That's not the point of this. I've heard some people say the most important thing in your business is your name. That's not true. You can just do really good marketing. I mean, Nappy-san, who thinks it's a great name, Nappy-san. It's such a weird name, but they're big. Or Kleenex. The name doesn't really matter, but what I want you to think about is if you have products or services under your brand, think about naming them a little bit differently. Think about naming them a bit differently. So rather than going platinum, gold, silver, diamond, name them a little bit differently. So one example is, of course, we have basic bananas. So we have different levels of how you work with us in programs. And one is called Clever Bunch. It's a play on the bananas. And then one is called Genius Bunch. So rather than calling them just conventional things, try and make them a little bit more unique, in line with your perception. In line with your perception. Taglines. What's the purpose of a tagline? What's the purpose of a tagline? Do you know what a tagline is? It's the little byline below your logo. What's the purpose? Yeah, to explain what you do, it's really to define your positioning. Your tagline, people don't use it as that, but your tagline is the best tool to define your positioning because you can do it straight away. So I look at your brand and I don't really know what you do or what you're like, but in your tagline, you can tell me a snippet of your positioning. So I'll show you some of the good ones. So Ajax again, stronger than dirt. Avis, we try harder. Why did I say that? Yes, they were number 2 behind Hertz. So number 2 is pretty bloody good. It's better than anything, really. It's good. Why don't they just say we're number 2? Because nobody cares about number 2. Nobody cares about number 2. So they say we try harder. So who do you want to work with the one that tries harder or with number 1? With the one that tries harder. So this is their positioning statement. Walmart, same as Kmart here, I think, or similar. It's similar, save money, live better. M&M's, this is one of my favorite ones. Melts in your mouth, not in your heart, in your hands. Who is their market? No. Moms. Moms, because kids don't buy. They want it, they throw tantrums, but the moms buy it. So their market are moms. What's the frustration that a mom has? Grubby stuff everywhere. So they say that. They say it doesn't melt in your hands, which is brilliant. It's a really good positioning statement. Disneyland is one of my favorite, the happiest place on earth. Been known for that forever, since the beginning. Visa, what's the benefit? It's everywhere you want to be. It's a promise. And then the beers. A diamond is forever. So when you think about your taglines again later or when you have time over the weekend, think about how can I adjust my tagline to reflect my position in the market. The thing about taglines is if you can make it a bit of a promise, that's really good. So make it a bit of a promise, a benefit. So a promise or a benefit, if possible. And design matters. So the last thing I want to highlight in terms of your positioning is, do we have designers here? Graphic designers, professionals? Yeah. I always say work with professionals. Like, what's your name? Leona. Like, you work with people like Leona because they know this stuff. Don't try and design your own stuff because it's not going to look good unless you're a designer. I'm not a designer, and I don't design my own stuff. I have a team that knows better what they do than I do. I know what I want, but they have to do it because I can't design. So instead of wasting your time trying to design your own stuff, make sure your stuff looks good. We've done a lot of tests on this, and it has a big impact. Here are a few examples. Who knows Samantha Wills? It's an Australian jewelry designer. So she's one of the bigger or most famous jewelry designers in Australia. This is actually a Samantha Wills ring. And her stuff, the quality of her stuff is not that incredible. But she charges enough because of design. Because all her stuff comes like this. It comes in a beautiful box. It comes in a little brown wooden box. It looks, the perception of her stuff is incredible. I could go to Thailand to a market and find this stuff for $5. But because of how it's displayed, she can charge $100 for the same thing. So this ring would probably cost $100. But you can buy this somewhere on the market similar for, I bought a similar thing once in Laos for maybe $10. But it didn't come with the perception around it. So it's all about perception. This is the most expensive water bottle in the world. How much do you think it costs? Have a guess. No. 60 grand. 60 grand. Because it was designed by Fernando Gabriela Marcases, something, I can't remember. Altamirano, something Altamirano. It was, it was designed by this Spanish guy. And he is a really amazing bottle designer. He's also designed a whiskey bottle, I think that's really expensive. And it's got the perception, and it's got gold on it too, that's why. 60 grand. Now here's just one quick example of one of our members, Chris Kameen. He runs a sailing school. When he first started working with us, his brand was the top brand, EcoSail. He teaches kids. He teaches kids how to sail. So his market are who? Who is his market? Moms, yeah, parents, moms usually decide. So what does a mom want when they send the kid to sailing school? Safety. Safety is everything. They see this brand and it looks like a hobby brand, the first one. So it's not really effective. We changed his brand. My team at Basic Bananas changed the brand to Sydney Sailing School. He actually had the URL already, and then we managed to do a more professional design. And the guy changed his perception in the market. He went from looking like a hobby brand and he was a solo entrepreneur, and he had, I think, one boat. He went to being a solopreneur with one boat to now 35 boats in two different, is it called yacht clubs? Yacht clubs, out of Balmain and Spitbridge, I think. So now he has 35 boats. And it's obviously he did a lot of other marketing strategies, but the first thing is he changed his perception in the market to be more credible, to be more established, to look more safe. And just the last one here, this is one of our own brands, a quick last example in terms of why design matters and why you really want to make sure you don't dilute your message. So one of the things that we do at Basic Bananas is we also implement for our members. So we have a team that does design, web design, copywriting, the whole branding game basically. So it became bigger and bigger and bigger, that part, as our members needed more work. Now we knew that if we keep it under Basic Bananas, our main brand, it's going to dilute the message. It's going to take away from our positioning as a leading marketing education provider. So we did that for a little bit, and we realized this is not going to help the brand. So we took it out of Basic Bananas, and we started a branding agency called The Business Hood, which is separate. If we hadn't done that, it's all about positioning. If we hadn't done that, we dilute the message. And that's something that a lot of businesses do here. Not as in here in the room, but in the world, is they do too many things and it dilutes the message, it takes away from their positioning. Because you want to have a strong positioning. So really, to finish up, what I'd like you to think about is how can you be incredible? How can you provide an incredible experience? And then the second thing is like Jung said, dare to be different. dare to be different, and dare to stand out. Because if you do that, and you don't have to be different in terms of, you don't have to be cheeky or funny, but just dare to be a bit different to your competitors. And don't be worried if you have some people that don't like that, because if you have people that don't like that, you will have some crazy fans. And that's what you want. You want to create crazy fans. So thank you so much. Thanks for having me.